First of all, I think we should be fair to Mr. Bolt and understand when he said, the government to give me back my money or some words to that effect, or the government must do something about it.
Yes, JPU family, welcome to another episode of Jamaica Politics Uncovered. Guys, if you're new to this platform, welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. Yes, Mr. Usain Bolt. My mind I tell me say, we're going to end up see you a PNP next conference if there is a conference. Or some PNP gathering. My mind I tell me say, at that we are going to see happen. Because it look to me like say, Bolt, it look to me like say, a cartel you follow. 2 years ago, you were robbed at SSL after you made an investment. And ever since then, there's been this politics at play where the opposition wants to blame the government for your loss. And that cannot be because the same FSC who cited SSL as a problem and a troubled financial institution. The PNP was there when SSL did a function same way and they did nothing, and the FSC under their leadership did nothing either. So the argument they mashed down long time. But this PNP is so desperate that they're still campaigning on. They move from blaming the government to Andrew Holness thief your money. And Usain Bolt, I don't understand why you would not come out and say, no, we're not going to go there. We have never accused a prime minister in the history of Jamaica of stealing from a Jamaican citizen, let alone 10 to 12 million US dollars. That's outrageous. And you, Usain Bolt, as an influential person, can you talk it say, because of who you are an influential person. I never have the respect and the decency for our Prime Minister to come out and tell the PNP them and anybody who play politics to stop it. This is not right. And you know what is sad is I have only seen this Prime Minister showed you grace, Usain Bolt. And for you to be sitting back, listening and hearing this politics at play, and then for you now to come out and say, yeah, the government supposed to do this, and the government, it really make you look like, say, you're falling at the trap of the cult them over PNP. Who I tell you, say, you must help them bring down the Prime Minister, so that's when them get in there, them can make sure say you get your money. You seen Bolt talk if I say going on. Because I cannot believe, say you come out and say the government, and you now say SSL, you now say the man them over SSL will rob up your money. Because them in it too, and not just it. You liar talk it. So more people should be in trouble, should be investigated and all these things. I'm glad say you liar talk it. But you come out and you now hold them accountable. But you're the panic government. Me not understand. The man over SSL where it broke like buckle and I borrow money from people. I take up loan when him couldn't pay back and I use him family property for pay back people, and them have him as sue and him friend as sue him and everybody as sue him. And him never have no money. You know, if you say that man in the thief into, you not talk about them. I not understand you, Usain Bolt. I feel like say you make the PNP them do you like where they do cartel, you know. And yes, the cartel take time, taking on, draw out a lion mouth. This Prime Minister, just like Portia Simpson Miller, has shown you nothing but grace. The Holness-led administration has celebrated you every chance they get to show the country's appreciation for your work and the way that you have put Jamaica on the map where track and field is concerned. And for say, you see and you sit down and you hear people as the Prime Minister of Jamaica thief your money and you don't come out, come say nothing. You don't come out, come shut it down. You make the PNP them a campaign on it, and you now come and do the same thing. Couple of months ago when you were writing your little encrypted messages on Twitter about your money and how you were feeling, I said on this platform that Usain Bolt need to not say anything about this money thing here, make him a lawyer come out, come talk for him. What a lawyer said, I don't really disagree with him, but you put your lawyer in a position and put yourself in a position where people are coming out and saying it look like you are playing politics. This cannot be good for you and for anybody to continue sympathizing with you. You see what them do? Cartel figured say when him go prison or before him go prison or while him was before the court, it was Peter Bunting as security minister and Mark Golden as justice minister who campaigned against him and him go prison before he was even convicted. You hear? In the diaspora. And I say Cartel come from prison and the lawyer with the PNP have over there have Cartel a dry him all over the place in the politics until Cartel realize what was going on and his advisors told him, separate yourself. You were probably too busy when them did a call up Cartel name and a campaign against him for go prison. Remember Gaza you saying, oh you not remember? Anyway, me gonna make the people them hear what your lawyer say. Because your lawyer said some very interesting things, you know. But what a situation to put your lawyer in to come out and come talk them something there to try and make it look better upon you. No, sir. If a gold in them and PNP them you follow, you need to stop it. It is alleged lies at PNP. Make we hear how him sound because it sound to me like him have a real problem with leaks from the investigation according to him. Parts of the leak being sent to a certain media house. Now when me talk plain and straight over here, so him talking about nationwide news, and nationwide news is sympathetic and biased to the Jamaica Labour Party. That is just the truth and the fact, right? If there's an investigation, yes, you and your lawyer are supposed to say the completion of it because there's the people in England who are investigate. Me not believe them for leak out and do them something there because them a compromise everything. But do not go out there and play politics because you're going to turn off a lot of people. Because even me can't start fear again, you know. After when me look upon everything and see what you do, you know.
One must understand that Mr. Bolt is not an attorney. He was not speaking in any forensic way to say the government has my money. He's saying that we have a government in Jamaica. Something has gone wrong at a financial institution about it. The matter has been moving along slowly, both in the criminal court and in the civil court. Now, persons ought not to ascribe to Mr. Bolt a political motive because he says the government should do something. That's very petty and without any merit whatsoever. But what has happened is that persons have now come down on Mr. Bolt and are saying, look, it's your fault why you have lost your money. And they are now entering into this victim blame, where you blame the person who suffered the loss.
No, sir, you have to be fair because just like how me can find out, say, the founder over SSL did bankrupt and in debt from 2014 and a borrow money and so forth. Bolt should have done his homework. He might put 10 million. Me not put no money over SSL and me can go look and see that. Him should have take the responsibility to make sure say them people here who are run over there, them not in a them kind of bangarang there. You understand? See the friend of the founder come out, come sue and attack everything. Say them over there and them a fraudster and them a crook and thief. So Bolt should have done his homework. Yes, a wrong was done. Yes, it is a criminal matter. Yes, he deserves justice. But yes, he did not do his due diligence to make sure that his money would be secured. I am not expecting you to blame your client, but what you ought to do is say to the public, be careful, do your investigation. Take example off of this and do your investigation when you go to invest. That's what you should be saying.
Or the damage, and say it's your fault why you suffer this misfortune. And this is very, very unfortunate. And this is something that we believe we should discontinue, and we should understand that he's entitled to demand that the government does something about it. And there are reasons why he's so entitled. One of them is that the FSC, the body that is set up to regularize, manage, control, and see to it that financial institutions are compliant with the law, gave a certificate each year to SSL. So anybody who goes there, including the Prime Minister who had an account there, government departments and several members of parliament who had accounts there, they relied on the fact that the entity obtained a certificate from the Financial Services Commission, the FSC, and therefore they presume properly that the place is in good standing and a safe place to put your money. So you can't blame Mr. Bolt for going there. You'd have to blame all the other persons who went there. So we find that he's demanding that the government should do something about it.
Yes, all 200 victims that were robbed should have done their homework and look into the people running SSL and try to find out what would happen in the event of some loss.
Is the type of demand that citizens make when they are not satisfied that a matter being investigated by various government entities is going as quickly as he would like it to go. He was not ascribing any political favor, political support, or political condemnation. He was just demanding government action, which is common and is said by people.
Any action with the government will take now can't help Bolt because the damage is already done. While it is true that this should teach Jamaica that when it comes down to efficient regulations, we need to be more aggressive and strong to protect citizens from the criminals over at SSL, any change that is made now to our financial regulations will not have anything to do with Bolt because his damage is done. His damage now is in the hands of investigators and in the court. Nothing the government can do to interfere in what has already happened to him and the other 200 victims.
Persons all over something happens,
so when you say
and
government,
they're not satisfied that it's being dealt with quickly.
So when you say government action, sir, what specifically, if anything, is Mr. Ball requesting?
Okay. The matter is being investigated, and one person has been charged. That person could be described as a low-level employee or officer of the entity. It is more than curious that nobody else has been charged, and how can it be that not only Mr. Bolt's money, but all the other persons, including several senior citizens, their monies disappear from this entity, and nobody is being called upon. The officers, the senior persons who would have to transfer those funds. Because bear in mind that Mr. Bolt's funds were not taken in a basket or a scandal bag and put on a counter or put on the floor. It was bank transfer.
And this is why I've been asking the question, how una na call for the investigation of this man? This man is scotch-free. Them make Jean and Pantan go right sitting and confess to everything and them get for skate. Why? Look here, the government is not the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Uno, the lawyers, they must be writing to the heads of police, who is the police commissioner, and ask them, why is it that more people are not being charged? In my opinion, this man here, who is the head cook and buckle washer over SSL, him and his son, them friend suing them and accusing them along with Jean and Pantan that they are all part of the fraud over there. So yes, now you're talking. This man who was in such deep debt, borrow money from people and can't pay them back. What make una not call for him to be investigated thoroughly?
It was transferred from a financial institution to SSL. So how did it leave SSL without a trace? It's not someone took up a bag of money and walk out. Checks and bank transfers were done to move this money. Why this can't be found? What has happened? What has happened to the computers that disappear mysteriously? Why are we not having fulsome disclosure of the investigation of this matter? And why nobody else is even being interrogated that we know of?
Is there
Why?
attestable proof, sir, that the funds actually got to the account? Because one of the accusations that's out there now is that the money was stolen before it actually got to the account. You've said
Okay.
it differently.
Well, let's deal with that. Who has the record, the information that the money was stolen and was not sent to SSL? Who has that information? And why not take it to the police and identify the person who stole the money? Why? Why this big red herring without a head nor a tail? Why? Well, let me tell you, Mr. Bolt's money was sent to SSL by bank transfers. The investigations conducted by Mr. Ken Tomlinson, who was put in charge by the FSC, his records confirm that Mr. Bolt's money was sent there. The persons who are saying it was stolen, which started at a certain media house, has not presented one bit of evidence to say it was stolen on the 10th of March and the amount stolen was $5 or $6. A red herring has been thrown across the path, and the question is, what's the motive for doing that?
I want to ask you what you think the motive is for doing that, and what do you make of
Sorry?
I want to ask you what you think is the motive for doing that, and what do you make of sections of the portions of the investigation being leaked without the public or yourself or your client being apprised of the entire situation?
Well, two things to be said about that. I am not aware that any part of the report from the investigators has been leaked. I'm not aware of that. If persons are saying they got parts of it by a leakage, then that would be something to be condemned and to question the reliability of the investigation, because they have taken bits and parts and leak it to their media of choice. Then you need to know why and why at this point it is being leaked, especially given the fact that the learned DPP is in today's newspaper as saying she's now ready to go to trial. What is happening?
Are you and your client a part of the investigation, as in have the authorities been reaching out to you or your client to get further information about what might have taken
No, we
place?
have not been contacted for further information, and we have not been contacted by the investigators or the prosecutor regarding this leakage of information that the money never got to SSL. We have not been contacted about that. And we don't know from which source the leakage took place and how the leakage went to one entity and what's the power, right, and privilege of that entity to which the leakage went.
Can you speak, sir, a little bit about? I know that your client was on a podcast earlier this week expressing what is understandable frustration about the situation. But
Yes.
can you speak further to what his considerations are, particularly for a country that he has given so much to, and the fact that he is now down millions of US dollars, and he seems not to be getting the type of response that he wants. Is he comfortable remaining here, or
Is he comfortable with what?
remaining here, or is he comfortable, or is he confident in the institutions that we have?
His confidence in the institutions we have has been shaken for obvious reasons. He has lost a lot of money. He's being kept abreast of what is happening in the courts and how the matter is being proceeded with. Um, he's not comfortable with the way we are being informed about the results of the investigations. We know that foreigners were brought here, investigations were complete, we are told, but his attorneys have not been afforded the privilege of even looking at any results from these investigations. And the reports would have been handed over to some government department, and if they have been leaked, maybe persons at those government departments or entities considered disclosure to a certain media is more important, more urgent than disclosure to the victims or the attorneys of the victims, which would be an appalling act of corruption were that to be the case.
Have you made any overtures, sir, to get further information? And have you
Yes,
made
yes, we have constantly asked for information on various matters that we consider we should be made aware of.
what has been the response or the outcome?
We have not gotten the responses we need in all instances.
And you've said in a release that you sent out
Sorry,
today.
it's a what? I didn't hear you.
I'm saying you sent out a statement today saying that you would be making certain evaluations to determine what next legal actions you will take. Have you come to some conclusion about where
No,
you will
not
head?
yet. We have not. We are awaiting certain responses and further and better information on certain matters.
All right. So as we close, sir, is there anything
Sorry, has what?
is there anything that you would want to say to the authorities or to the public who might be looking on and wondering what is taking place?
Yes, I want the public to understand that Mr. Bolt was in an interview which was very informal, and he spoke like a typical Jamaican. Mr. Bolt has no interest or intention to become in any political discussion or interpretation of his misfortune. When he speaks that the government should do something about it, he's speaking as a layman and not as an attorney. He's not saying that it's a political decision why he has suffered and it's anything to do with politics. He's just saying, do something about it. And the government did promise to do something about it. Dr. Clark, the then finance minister, did say heads would roll. So there's nothing wrong with what Mr. Bolt has said, and we should never interpret it as meaning he's anti-government or in any political canvassing or supporting one party or the other. Nothing like that. It's typical of Jamaicans whenever anything happens that the government is partially responsible for, and the government is somewhat responsible for allowing SSL to keep going all these years when they knew that there was a problem there and they kept issuing them with license. So there's nothing wrong with his demand.
Well, let me ask you
It's
this:
proper.
do you, sir, believe that there is any political malfeasance at play here? I'll leave the question at that.
I would say that the coincidence of certain persons coming forward to give legitimacy to the allegation that Mr. Bolt's money went the wrong place is uncomfortable.
Guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Lord have mercy. You keep it locked here for all your political news, breaking news, updates, and reviews from out of Jamaica. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.